Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live off 3 speaks, go.
And welcome to the best damn sports radio show on the planet. This is your Man Hour. I am your host, BC Beastie Brandon Combs. If you have not yet done so, make sure you click like, share, and subscribe on whichever platform you are watching us on. And if you are watching us on Belly Up Sports TV, Tiki Live TV, what you see and you like what you see, and you like what you see, you can head on over to youtube.com/manhour. You can sign up for as little as $2.99 a month. You become a member of Man Hour Nation. And when you become a member of Man Hour Nation, you get all sorts of perks. We've got merchandise, we've got hoodies, we got hats, we've got t-shirts. Hell, we've got cell phone covers. We've got all sorts of stuff over on the website. Head over to manhourradio.com. Check out all of the merch. Click on that merch tab. Whew. And now that I've tried to pay the bills, we've got a great show lineup for you guys. I am going to be solo for the first probably about hour, and then we will have a guest here. And he's from Belly Up Sports as well. And we will be talking with him actually about hockey. I've got hockey on in the background, watching the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets going at it right now. But I can't wait to talk hockey. I never get to talk hockey on this show because none of the other buffoons that grace this set with me ever can talk hockey. Soup Boss can. I'll give him that. Soup Boss can talk hockey a little bit. But at any rate, we're going to talk hockey with Mr. DeWitt. He is from he is from, what was his name? Let's see here. It is King DeWitt, and he is from Rocky Mountain Extreme on Belly Up Sports. So he is going to be joining me here later on. And like I said, we're going to be talking some hockey. We're going to be diving deep into what is going on in the playoffs. We are going to see what he has to say regarding the fact that I don't have Wayne Gretzky as my greatest of all time in the NHL. So, with that being said, let me get started with some news. And one thing that we've been talking about a lot on the show is the fact that baseball is still in its lockout. And they're meeting every day this week. They met on Monday, very little progress. They met on Tuesday, very little progress. They met today. And from what I'm hearing, there was, again, very little progress. So I don't know what we can expect to come out of the rest of the week. But what I'm learning here as I go along and as I read everything that I can and I talk to the people that I know that are inside the game, and I talk to sources, and I try to piece everything together, because nobody inside the game is going to actually give me inside advice, right? Like, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, hey, let's break our news on the Man Hour. Unfortunately for them, they don't know how good I am at reading in between the lines. And so there was a story that came out today on ESPN that Major League Baseball said that the 2022 season will be shortened if no labor agreement has been reached by the end of Monday. MLB upped its proposed minimum for this year to $640,000 and then have it rising $10,000 in each year additional season of a 5-year agreement. So that would mean by the end of the 5-year agreement, which would be 2027 season, I believe, it would be about $690,000 would be the league minimum. Now, players have asked for $775,000 with $30,000 jumps each season. So eventually, they would be getting to, by the time that this CBA was up in 2027, the league minimum would be $1 million. So realistically, right now, the sides are about, let's say, about $300,000 apart. To say that this gets my blood boiling when I sit down and actually think about it would be an absolute understatement. To tell you guys, and what's going on, Drew? What's going on, Alpha Rob? I see you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys joining the show. But to tell you guys that we're $300,000 apart, right, on our numbers. Now, these are rookie numbers. These are deals. These are the league minimums. So let's say on average, each team has, I don't know what, 4. We'll give them 5. Let's give them 5 because we do the math a little bit easier there, right? So you got 30 teams. You got 5 players that are running on rookie deals, the league minimums that are on your roster. So that's 150 players at $300,000. Okay. So we're gonna do this math real time. Okay, I'm gonna go over this math with you real quick. So you got 300,000 times 150. We're talking about $45 million. $45 million in a league that, let's do some more math with you guys live here. Let me look up and see what is Major League Baseball's annual revenue as a league. So, as a league, baseball as a league brings in $10.7 billion. That's billion with a B. $10.7 billion. And they can't come to an agreement over $45 million. And people say that this is on the players. This is not on the players. The owners, with a projected $10.7 billion, don't want to give up an extra $45 million to the players. What the hell are we talking about? What are we arguing about? We can't come to an agreement over $45 million. We're missing spring training games. We're not going to start the season on time. We might have a shortened season if we can't come to an agreement because of $45 million damn dollars. Hell, if you want to raise that up and take it to the extreme, let's raise it up to $100 million. Out of $10.7 billion. I look, guys, I don't often talk bad about the game itself, right? Do I think that they market themselves poorly? Yes. Do I think the game needs a new commissioner? Hell yes. Do I believe that this game, as it stands, with no changes ever, is the most beautiful sport in the world and is the greatest game that has ever been played? With all of my heart, I believe that. But right now, the game is being tainted. And it's being tainted by Rob Manfred and the owners. Rob Manfred and the owners are talking about, let's say, so if you have a $200 million, let's say every team in the league had a $100 million payroll. They don't. As a matter of fact, I believe there's about 7 or 8 teams that don't have even $100 million. I believe the Pittsburgh Pirates are at like $56 million. And then you got some teams that are above, like, in the 190s to 200 range, somewhere around there, right? So let's say on average, you have about $300 million in payroll. Now we're trying to add 45 million more. So now you're at $345 million in payroll. Or I'm sorry, 3.45 billion is what it would be. I apologize. I did my math wrong. 3.45 billion. So you still got $7.5 billion left over of revenue. Now, look, there's overhead costs, there's insurance to pay, there's stadiums that you have to pay, there's taxes you have to pay, which actually I believe the league is an exempt league. So I don't even think that they pay taxes. So as a team, I know the players do out of their checks, but I don't think as a team, I don't think they pay taxes on the stadiums. I don't think they pay taxes on land or anything like that. So let's up that a little bit. So overhead costs, let's say it's $5 billion. Okay. And that's after adding what the players are asking for. You still have $5.7 billion in this league. And we can't get a deal done? $45 million in a $10.7 billion a year league is stopping us from playing games. That is a freaking joke. And I hear people on different networks, ESPN Radio, 670 The Score here in Chicago, which I listen to a lot, actually defending the sport and defending the owners and saying, look, you guys just got to give them time. You got to do. We are talking about pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar to a league, and they don't want to give way. How is that on the players? How is this not solely on the owners? When you break it down, because nobody breaks it down, right? They want to talk about, the players want, 730 million. The owners are offering 645, and then they're going to go up 10,000. They're not actually breaking it down and giving you what the numbers are, right? Because when you say it like I just said it, it sounds pretty damn silly, doesn't it? Because it is. It's pretty damn silly to be arguing over this amount of money in a league that generates that much money. It's stupid. And you can't convince me otherwise. The owners have to just give in, pay these players, the players that generate a vast majority of that $10.7 billion. I'll give the owners their just due. Look, without owners, there'd be no teams. There'd be nobody to run the teams. There'd be nobody to try to finance stadiums. There'd be nobody to try to, finance vendors and all that stuff. That all comes from owners. And people sit there and say, and I've had people argue with me, oh, well, I mean, you could find anybody to do it. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't, because you couldn't find anybody with that much money that can at least invest in a team and pay for some of these things that you're trying to do. I mean, Wrigley Field has gone from, look, I've always loved Wrigley Field. It's always been my favorite place to go. It's my favorite thing in the summertime to do. But they don't. No, it's not 45 million spread over all the teams. It's not. I'm talking about you're talking about $100,000, right? With maybe 150 players. You're talking about 45 million as a league. So, sorry, Drew, I misread your comment. Yes, Drew, that is $45 million spread over all the teams. In a league that generates $10.7 billion a season. $10.7 billion spread over all the teams. And you do the math, you throw it out there, you include the payrolls. And you're at about, 300 or $3.45 billion if you give them this raise. And then with all your overhead costs, you're talking about $5 billion. You got $5.7 billion left as a gross income. $5.7 billion. Look, I'm pretty sure I could find 30 guys that want to split $5.7 billion evenly. These owners, look, I know they make money. They've got other ventures. They're businessmen. They're in to make money. They're not in it to give away money. I get all that. I really do understand the business side of things. I'm a manager for a construction company. I understand having to try to fluctuate costs, to try to, you deal with subcontractors and you try to, elevate what your cost is compared to what they were going to sell so that you make some money off of the job as well. Right. But the numbers are astronomical and what the players are asking for is minimal. It's not that big of a jump. $100,000. And the thing is, it's $100,000 only for the guys who are making league minimum. These aren't for the guys who already have contracts. These aren't for the guys who you're paying. These are the guys like, when you have a Chris Bryant come into the league who wins Rookie of the Year, wins MVP, wins, a World Series for you. You are paying him a league minimum of $730,000. You get guys like Mike Trout who comes in on a rookie deal. He makes $730,000. Don't you think Mike Trout's worth a little bit more than $730,000 even as a rookie? Yeah. Chris Bryant as a rookie was worth more than $730,000. Chris Bryant as a second-year player was worth more than $730,000. Now, yes, you're going to have those players who, are riding the bench, are getting minimal playing time, and they're still going to be making $730,000. But it's going to do two things for you. One, it's going to have you start picking and choosing better who you're bringing up out of your system. Not that they don't already do a great job, because they do a great look. Any of these players, even the players in the minor leagues, are the best players in the world at this game. Not myself, not anybody sitting at home, not anybody else who thinks that they could play this game better than them or knows this game better than them can do what they're doing at their level. You just can't. And what they're doing at their level is the best in the world. And when you're the best in the world at your craft, to make a league minimum of $730,000, when you've got players out there, hell, I was talking with a buddy of mine at work today, and we were talking about Carlos Correa getting a deal. And if the Cubs want to get him on a short-term 3-year or 4-year deal, why don't they pop out a number like 3 years at $210? That's $70 million a year. But if you get another World Series out of it, isn't $70 million a year kind of worth it? Probably. $70 million a year. When you're going to generate $3 billion, that's worth it. It's economics. I mean, just think about it. It's basic business. And right now, the owners are just being selfish. The owners are not willing to. They're penny pinching. That's what they're doing. They're penny pinching. They're not willing to budge. They don't want to give them an extra dime. They want to give them a nickel. Give them the damn dime. Give them the damn dime. It's unbelievable what is going on right now in Major League Baseball. And when you break down the numbers the way I just did, it's just silly. I'm going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about something else that I found a little silly. And I didn't even know it was a thing because I did not watch the NBA All-Star Game. But I didn't even know it was a thing until about 10 minutes before the show. So stay with me. We'll talk about it in just a couple minutes.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. That means we give the people what they want. Expert fantasy advice, leading medical and legal analysis, free contests, and innovative games to keep you entertained. Watch us live with the Tiki Live app on the Belly Up Sports channel, subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on all social media platforms. Visit TSSFantasy.com today for all the latest updates from the fantasy show of the people. We put the fun in fantasy.
Yeah!
Instead of the mayo
over sour cream, yeah.
Right. That's because you have high cholesterol. Okay.
If you drafted Julio Jones,
You got ghosted.
This is amazing. TSS Fantasy is like an orgasm. If I had a cigarette, I'd smoke it. I'm pumped to be here. This is the show of shows.
TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering, negativity is a plague for the mentally weak, no mercy, all I got is working, never stop searching, never quench the thirsty, I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it, it's been chronic, since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic, go! To last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop competing, if you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat them.
All right, I am back. It's the best damn sports radio show on the planet. This is Man Hour. I'm your host, BC Beastie Brandon Combs. So I went to break and we were talking about baseball and we were talking about the strike, right? And Alpha Rob says that's the problem with baseball. And he's correct. And I was looking up the numbers while I was on break and I was looking up the numbers and I wasn't far off with my numbers. So I looked up what the total payroll was for players in Major League Baseball last year. It was $4 billion, just a little over $4 billion. And that's the highest it's been since 2015. So about the $3.6 billion mark is about where it's at average annually. That's about what I had said. In a league that grosses $10.7 billion annually. It's sick. Look, I've been a business owner. Owners do not make half of what they bring in. It's just not a thing. If I made half of what I brought in as an owner over the last 15 years, an owner of a carpentry business, look, Man Hour would be fully funded. We would be taking belly up sports to the top. And we would be competing with all sorts of people because I'd be rich. As an owner, you make about 30%, 30 to 35% of what you bring in. And that's on a high end, okay? So for them to be like, oh no, we're $4 billion, we can't give you another 45 million for a season. That's just too much. That's just too much. Get the hell out of here. Alpha Rob says, but if you win, you make more money as a team. You do. You do make more money as a team. And if you're winning and you're paying guys at the league minimum and you're still winning, those guys deserve to be paid more. They deserve to be paid better. But it's not like, hey, Chris Bryant, oh, hey, you won Rookie of the Year, then you just won the MVP and you helped us win a World Series for the first time in 108 years. Cool, let's extend you. That's not what they do. They're like, hey, go to arbitration. Oh, you only made $550,000 this year as the MVP? Oh, that sucks. Well, hey, here, guess what? We'll give you a record of $1.5 million in arbitration. A record. You were the MVP of the entire league, of a league of guys who are making, 20 to 30 to $40 million a season. And we're going to give you $1.5 million for being the best player out of all of them. Makes sense. Makes sense. And like I said, I get it because people will argue it, and I understand the argument. Yes, but if you're giving him a contract, he's been hurt since then. He hasn't been the same player since 2016. He's chronically injured, that type of stuff. Would he have been worth the contract? Yes and no, right? Because, maybe he plays through some more injuries because he's making more money. It's worth it to him. And that's something you got to do in every line of work is incentivize. Hell, I just came up with an incentive program for the installers for our company. I just developed an incentive plan and people asked me, they said, well, we're going to incentivize them to do their jobs. No, but you're going to incentivize them to work harder. You're going to incentivize them to do more than what they're doing right now at the same pay that you give them, which isn't much at all. You incentivize. So incentivize them. Give them another $45 million a year. $45 million. Come on, baseball. Come on. It's unfathomable what the owners are doing. Only baseball will do that. So it's true. It's true. You get to the NFL and you got non-guaranteed contracts. You got guys who, there's not a whole lot of loyalty in Major League Baseball. Hockey players, they don't get paid, nearly what NFL and MLB players do. And they're in a very violent, highly active sport. But when your league is generating $10.7 billion, and you're arguing because you want to keep 60% of the income, that's just greedy. It's just greedy. I'm sorry, but it is. All right. So let's move on to something else. So I don't know if anybody watched the NBA All-Star Weekend. I did not. I did, however, watch the slam dunk competition. And God, do I wish I did not. I kind of skimmed through it, and then when I got to the championship round, I'm watching. But I did notice that while I'm skimming through it, that there's a lot of misses. But we get to the championship round, and one guy in the championship round, I can't remember his name. I think it was Jalen Jones or something like that. Jalen Johnson, something along that lines. He misses 9 dunks. First of all, remember when they only had 2 opportunities? If you miss one, you only get one more chance to make it. 9 dunks, this guy. It was so bad. It was so hard to watch. Just unbelievable. Unbelievably bad. If you did not watch it, as Drew says, I did not watch. Drew, consider yourself lucky. It was god awful. The All-Star game itself, I guess, wasn't too bad. I know Stephen Curry put on a show, putting up 50 plus points. He had something like 16 threes or something to that effect. He was just putting on a show. But 9 misses in a slam dunk competition. I don't even know how you get 9 chances. I don't know how you get it. He was 1 of 9 or 1 of 10. I'm sorry. 10 chances in a slam. What are we doing? Why is this even a thing? The slam dunk competition has not been good for a long time. People complain about baseball and a home run derby. Look, I will watch the home run derby every single night of the week before I watch a slam dunk competition like this. 9 misses in a slam dunk competition is beyond me. But that's not what I wanted to get to. That's not what chapped my ass as much as this next topic. ESPN came out with their list of the top 75 players in NBA history for the 75th year of the league. And Kobe Bryant was number 10. Kobe Bryant was number 10. Who was ahead of him, you ask? We're going to get to that in a minute. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I really don't. I don't know how they get to where they were at, how they feel like 9 guys in the history of this game were better than Kobe Bryant. But look, you can make heads or tails of the top 10, right? Like, do the top 10 belong in the top 10? It's debatable. Okay. You got Oscar Robertson. Look, I know what he did for the game. I know what he meant for the game. But he had 1 title. And I know titles don't make everything. And I know rings aren't the be-all, end-all of your top lists. But when you were as great of a player as Kobe Bean Bryant was for 20 years in the league, averaging 25 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 4.7 assists, I just don't I don't know, especially in that era, right? The Jordan era leading into the the Kobe Bryant and Shaq era, leading into the LeBron James era. And you've got guys like Oscar Robinson ahead of him. Tim Duncan, who I do believe is a very underrated player of all time, is ahead of him. Larry Bird is ahead of him, and Larry Bird is not a better player all time than Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry, Celtics fans, but he's not. You want to put Bill Russell up there? That's another guy I'll argue with you with. Bill Russell averaged 15.1 points a game. 15.1 points per game. That's 5 points less per game than Kobe. He averaged more rebounds per game, but he was also a center. And he averaged less assists per game. And then the one that I know my boy Wayne G's going to have a problem with is Will Chamberlain being 5th on that list. That's another problem. But you got Magic Johnson over Kobe Bryant. Magic Johnson's not even a better Laker than Kobe Bryant, let alone better all time than Kobe Bryant. Come at me if you want to. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at number 3. LeBron James at 2. You knew that was going to happen. And Jordan at 1. It's not LeBron James at number 2. It's Jordan. It's Wilt. I have Kobe at 3. Some people will argue with me. I know Wayne G, I believe, has Tim Duncan at 3, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly. But even Shaq I would put in the top 10. But you have Kobe Bryant at 10. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what the hell ESPN is thinking. I don't know where their heads were at when they were making this list. I mean, sometimes when they make their lists, it's a little questionable, but this is bad. This is a gross oversight. Kobe Bryant is clearly a top 5 player of all time. If you don't want to put him in your top 3 like I have him, that's fine. But he's at least top 5. And then you have him at 10th, and you've got guys like, I get Oscar Robertson. I get what he meant to the game. I get it. Wilt Chamberlain at 5. They changed the rules of the game because of Wilt Chamberlain. The man was averaged 50 points in a season, 44 points in another season for a full season. Average 50 points a game. 5th all time. It boggles my mind that this franchise, which is ESPN, continues to allow people in their organization who clearly can't have, I don't want to say unbiased opinions, because I don't think this is a bias. Maybe it is. I don't know how anybody at this day and age can be biased towards Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. But I don't understand how ESPN can continue to allow stuff like this to happen. It makes zero sense to me. I'm getting so, look, I used to love ESPN, right? I'll listen to it on the radio. I still listen to ESPN radio on the way home because I listen to the local ESPN radio, and I listen to, guys like Tom Waddle, Mark Silverman, and then I like my guy David Kaplan and Jay Hood in the mornings. But ESPN and .com and ESPN TV, it's just getting to a point where you almost have people employed that don't understand what the hell they're talking about. They just don't. You got a couple of really good guys out there. You got a couple of really good, why didn't Stephen A make this list? And I know people don't like Stephen A, but Stephen A is a basketball guy. Stephen A knows the game probably better than anybody you have on your roster. Why didn't he make this list? But instead, you got a group of writers who combine and collaborate to make this list. The ESPN all-time set. Stop. Because you screwed it the hell up. It's unbelievable. Alpha Rob says, I use ESPN back in the 90s. That's when they were good. BC, they don't know what they're talking about. I agree, Alpha Rob. They do not know what they're talking about. Drew chimes in, says, ESPN, your proctologist called. They found your heads. Oh boy, that is so true. That is so. I can't stand. Like, they're getting so bad, and they're so blinded by the politics now. It's not even funny. I mean, it is bad. The politics that are one with ESPN. He says, "What do you expect when you're owned by Disney?" Says Drew. They goofy. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give you that. I'm going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some NBA basketball again. The mask mandate and vaccine mandate in New York is about to change. Does that change the tide in the East? Are the Brooklyn Nets again the team to beat? We'll talk about it. Be right back.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking clout. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 Anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my fucking mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase them? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
And we are back. Look, if you guys have not checked us out on Belly Up Sports, Alpha Rob, Drew in the chat, if you guys have not checked out Belly Up Sports, make sure you guys check us out. They have Belly Up Sports TV, which is on Tiki.live. We are on every day, 1 to 3. It's replay of the show from the night before. But check it out. Give them some love. They've got some other really good shows on there. We're about to have a guest here in about 15 minutes who is also a part of the network. And he is a part of the Rocky, or I'm sorry, what was it? I keep forgetting the name of this show, which the Rocky Mountain Extreme. Okay. So, and he's coming on to talk some hockey. So we're going to get some hockey talk in here. But if you guys have not checked out this network, I'm telling you, this network is going to go places. It might take a couple of years, but we're going to be a part of this network, and this network is going to give Barstool a run for its money. Our content is better. We don't have all of the rules that, right now Barstool has. We bring it to you live, raw, and uncut every time. And Man Hour will always bring it to you live, raw, and uncut. We will always tell you the truth. I don't care what network tries to hire me. They're going to have to deal with the fact that I will tell them the truth. I will call them out on their BS. And if they don't like it, I'll just continue to do it here on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all these other, networks that we do them on. But this network is the real deal. So check them out. BellyUpSports.com. You can also check them out on Facebook at Belly Up Sports. Check it out. See what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of some of the other shows too. If there's another show that you guys like, let me know, because we could get those guys on with us too. Chat it up once a week or something. If there's somebody that says something interesting or somebody that says something that maybe you disagree with, let us know. We'll bring them on the show. We'll chop it up. We'll let you go at them if we have to. So it's what we do. Alpha Rob during the break says, "What do you think about the Steelers hire Fraudrez?" Oh, Brian Flores. So, Alpha Rob, I was shocked. And not because I think Brian Flores deserves a job. I would have hired him as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I don't know about, I see here you calling him Fraudrez. Maybe there's something, maybe it's just because he was a coach of the Dolphins that you don't like him or something. But, when I look at everything that has come out since his firing, I look at the record, right? This guy was coaching a team that was trying to pay him extra money to lose. And he still won. He still had them pushing for the playoffs. He was still having winning seasons with a front office that wanted them to lose. And he didn't take any money, according to him. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until proven guilty. Says he didn't take any of the money. I'm on record. If it ever comes out that he took the money to lose games, he should never work in the league again. But for right now, I believe him. He says he did not take any of the money. Fine. You deserve a head coaching position. You do. But I understood where teams were staying away from him because of the lawsuit. You don't get a job when you are suing the league that you're working for. You can't sue your employer and still be employed. It's not a thing. Anywhere in the United States is it a thing. And I don't believe that Brian Flores was going to get a head coaching position. I don't believe he was even in the running for a head coaching position. There's a lot of stuff that goes into his firing, right? Bad makeup here with Tua. The front office, they didn't like how loud of a voice he was, how much control he wanted. He clearly had a problem with their authority, did not want to listen to them, and frankly, I don't blame him. If you come to me and you tell me, hey, I want you to lose, I'm going to give you extra money just to lose games, I'm not going to listen to your authority either, because I'm not going to respect you enough to listen to your authority. So I don't blame Brian Flores in that situation. I do blame him for his lack of relationship with Tua. To not have Tua is I'm here to say, oh God, Buck. Your relationship with Tua, not having a relationship with Tua, if you're Brian Flores, is your fault, because you should have had a relationship with him. I'm going to touch on Buck's comment here real quick. He says, I'm here to say that Kobe is only top 10 because he died. There, I said it. You're an idiot. Kobe is a top 5 player of all time. The fact that he is 10th on that list is a joke. So say it all you want, Buck, but you are incorrect. You should go on your own YouTube thing and say that. Don't say that under Man Hour because that puts my name in that damn comment. I did not, and I will never say that Kobe Bryant is only a top 10 because he's deceased. Kobe Bryant is a top 5 player of all time. I have him top 3. You can't name one Laker better than him because there is no Lakers better than him. It's Kobe Bryant and then everybody else. So you can just stop right there. But at any rate, we're talking about the Brian Flores thing because Alpha Rob asked what I thought about the hire, and I don't think that Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's the only team that could hire him, right? Because you've got the longest tenured black head coach in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. That is the only head coach that could hire Brian Flores after the lawsuit that has enough, let's say, street cred to hire Brian Flores. He's the only guy that can go into the league and say, hey, look, I don't care what you say. I know he's got a lawsuit against you, but I need this guy, and he's good enough, and he's getting the position on my team. Said, gotta love Buck, though. He doesn't speak his mind. He just spouts BS. This guy's going to go out there and say 5 Lakers better than Kobe are Shaq, LeBron James, Magic, and Meta World Peace. It's not speaking his mind. He's speaking nonsense, Alpha Rob. Don't encourage this man. Don't encourage this man. Jerry West is on that list, too, he says. So you named 4, and now you're naming 5 different ones. So, Buck, you're worse than the Major League Baseball owners, arguing over $45 million a year in a league that grosses $10.7 billion. We can't get a deal done over $45 million. Give me a break. He's out here naming 2 different damn. I can't wait till we're back on the screen together. I can't wait till I actually get to yell at you and not through the damn comments section. I can't wait till I get to yell at you and tell you how stupid you are to your stupid looking face. That's what I can't wait for, Buck. Jeez, some crow. This guy's got Jerry West and Elgin Baylor ahead of Magic. Oh, anyway, let's get back to basketball, where we were talking before the break as the rules are changing in New York, and they're waiting for the state mandate to get lifted for the vaccine and needing to have a vaccine to be inside of public places, and the mask mandate, which we still have here in Chicago too, is ending February 28th. But they're waiting for that and waiting to get word as to when that will happen in New York. And then when that does happen in New York, Kyrie Irving again is allowed to play home games again. So that makes me wonder, does that make the Brooklyn Nets the team to beat again in the East? Right now, they are currently sitting 8th in the Eastern Conference. But they're about to get Kevin Durant back. And now they might get Kyrie back. And they just made that trade, so now they're going to get... I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. At any rate, the guy that they got from the Sixers who wasn't playing, Ben Simmons, sorry. They're about to get him. He says he's starting ready to play. He's excited to play. All of a sudden, because he got traded away from the team that he didn't want to play for, now all of a sudden he's mentally ready to play, but he wasn't mentally ready to play earlier in the season. So clearly, mental health for him is an excuse and a joke, because he's going to play it for his benefit and to get what he wants, and that's ultimately what he got. And I think that sends a bad message in itself, but that's a story for a different day. So we've got a team that's starting to get healthy. They're starting to get players in place. Kevin Durant, and I know they're in 8th right now in the East. They're barely a playoff team right now. They've been playing without Kevin Durant. They play half of their games without Kyrie Irving. They had a disgruntled James Harden before they traded him. But now they get rid of Harden. They bring on Ben Simmons, who I guess we'll see how well he's playing when he comes back. You add Kevin Durant, who's arguably the best player in the NBA right now. And you get Kyrie Irving. And I'm a Bulls guy, obviously. I'm a Chicago guy through and through. My Bulls right now are sitting there tied for the top spot in the Eastern Conference, 38-21, same record as the Miami Heat. The Bulls have been dealing with injuries all year long too. But you start looking at these teams, right? You start looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, who are sitting in 5th. 2.5 games out of the top spot. But Giannis and that team is good. I mean, they're the NBA champions. They're the defending NBA champions. They're a good team. You got the Boston Celtics, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then you got the Philadelphia 76ers sitting at 3rd, who just got James Harden, by the way. Then you got the Bulls, who, if they get healthy, they've shown all year long how good they can be when they're healthy. They've shown how resilient they are all year long when they're not healthy as well. And you got the Miami Heat, who are consistently showing you how good they are. But the Brooklyn Nets, with a full roster, that's a different team. That's a very different team there. And, excuse me. Alpha Rob says, is the NBA still doing the play-in thing? They are still doing the play-in thing. I believe 7 plays 8, 7 plays 10 and 8 plays 9. So right now it would be the Raptors versus the Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets versus the Charlotte Hornets in the play-in games in the East. And I mean, look, the Brooklyn Nets, if they're playing in a play-in game, they got to be the most dangerous team going up against a 1 or a 2 seed. If they're not the favorites to win the whole damn thing. And the Bulls got to start deciding whether or not they want to slide down. Look, they've got the second hardest schedule with the remaining, I believe I want to say 23 games. I think is what's left on the season. And of those remaining 23, I believe the Lakers have the hardest schedule and the Bulls have the second hardest schedule. So if the Bulls, with the second hardest schedule, don't want to have to face the Brooklyn Nets, if they're in a play-in game, do you start making sure that your guys are healthy versus making sure that you're winning basketball games, if you catch my drift? Would it be the worst thing to slide down to the 3rd or 4th seed in the NBA in the Eastern Conference? Would it be the worst thing to lose a couple of games you're supposed to win and slide down? I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. I think you maybe coincide what you're doing with what the Nets are doing. Because the Nets are just a scary team. No matter how you put it, they're a scary team, especially when they're healthy. And when you get a healthy Kevin Durant, anything can happen. The guy can go off for 50 on any given night. So, I don't know, but I would certainly be cautious if I'm any team in looking at the standings and watching the scoreboard down the stretch here in these final 23 games to see where the Brooklyn Nets are sitting and kind of base my decision on what I'm going to do with my roster down the stretch on that. You just do. I do think DeMar DeRozan will get some MVP votes. As Alpha Rob says, do you think DeRozan will get any MVP votes? I do. I do, and I think they're well deserved. I mean, he's put this team on his back through all the injuries, through the injury to Ball and the injuries to Kobe and Patrick Williams. Those guys going down are huge losses for this Bulls team, but they've shown you when they're healthy what they can do. So we'll see. We'll see. But we are supposed to have a guest here coming up shortly, waiting for him to join me. I'm going to take another break, and when we come back, hopefully the guest will be here. Hopefully we will see Mr. DeWitt, and we will be talking some hockey. If not, we'll get to whatever the hell you guys want to talk about. We'll be back. Give me 2 minutes.
What's going on, Belly Up Sports fans? Thanks for tuning in to the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. We have some really exciting news for several Belly Up Podcast Network shows. The Sports Stove Podcast, the Rough Cut Sportscast, and Here in Puckburg have all been nominated for a Sports Podcast Award. So, head on over to sportspodcastawards.com and make sure to vote for the Sports Stove Podcast for Best College Sports Podcast and Best News and Current Affairs Podcast. Vote for the Rough Cut Sportscast for Best American Football Podcast, and vote for Here in Puckburg for Best Winter Sports Podcast. Again, that website is sportspodcastawards.com. Thanks for being the best part of Belly Up Sports. We are what they are.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. Slowing down, I'll give up everything. If I can see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, part of my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting life. If I can see my dream, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Slowing down, I'll give up everything, daunting life. If I can see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
All right, and we are back. So change of plans, and which is fine because we are live, raw, and uncut. It's kind of what happens here. Sometimes you have guests lined up, and sometimes they spill things on their computer and they can't make it. So we strive on here. We were going to be talking some hockey, and if you guys want to talk about something else, feel free to hit me up in the chat. I will certainly take all suggestions, all questions. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead with the with the hockey talk. It's not something I often get to talk about on this show because half of the guys that are on the show, well, yeah, 3/5. I guess that's right? Because Soup Boss counts as an active member of Man Hour sometimes. So, so none of those guys can talk hockey. So we just kind of go about it. And to be honest with you, look, it's why a lot of sports networks don't cover hockey is because there's not a lot of guys that can talk it. And there's not a lot of guys not a lot of people that actually, will sit down and listen about hockey talk for whatever reason. And I don't get it because it's one of the most exciting sports out there. But we're going to move forward with it here. So, look, the NHL is gearing up for its last, 12 games of the season here before the playoffs start in April. And there are some teams here in both conferences that are going to make pushes and are going to make moves and are going to find themselves. They're going to find themselves ready when the time comes. And when you start looking at the standings and you've got 13 games left and you've got in the Atlantic Division, you got the Florida Panthers, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are all in right now. You got the Carolina Hurricanes, Pittsburgh Penguins, New York Rangers, all in right now in the Metropolitan. So those are your top 6. And then your 2 wildcard teams right now are the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins. And now the Boston Bruins have a 9-point advantage over the Columbus Blue Jackets, a 10-point advantage over the Detroit Red Wings. And a lot of people think that the 8 are set in the NHL. And they might be right. Well, I'm sorry, in the Eastern Conference of the NHL, and they might be right. The Boston Bruins are a very good team. They've underperformed as of late. They've had some goalie issues as of late. They, excuse me, they need to get that corrected. But they are a team that can get caught. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are a team that can catch them. What they have there with Max Domi, Brandon Dubinsky, trying to think of some of their other players there. You got Nyquist is over there. Cole Sillinger is over there. Trying to think. They got some very good defensemen. They got that Adam, what's his name? Bokvist, something like that. Dean Kukan. And then, Berube being their starting goaltender. And this team, if they catch fire, if Berube starts standing on his head through these last 13 games of the season, they could absolutely positively catch the Boston Bruins. So the Boston Bruins better not be sleeping when it comes to the Columbus Blue Jackets, because this is definitely a team that is poised to make a run if you let them back into it. And they're going to win games. They're going to win their games. So if the Boston Bruins, who are having goalie trouble, start to falter just a little bit, this Columbus Blue Jackets team is going to make them pay for it. And I don't know if, I'm going to check right now, I don't know if the Columbus Blue Jackets, I don't know how many games they have left versus the Boston Bruins, which would be an interesting thing to know here. I know that they do have a couple of postponed games. I know they had one against the Blackhawks that was postponed. I don't know if they're going to make up those games. I don't know what happened in the NHL with that. I don't know what decision they made, whether or not they're making those games up. But yeah, so the Columbus Blue Jackets have a game on March 5th against the Boston Bruins, and they have a game on April 2nd versus the Boston Bruins. And then that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, April 4th against the Boston Bruins. They got a home and home against the Boston Bruins, April 2nd, April 4th. Those two games over the next month, those two games there could decide whether or not the Columbus Blue Jackets catch the Boston Bruins. This team can absolutely do what they are trying to do. Then you look over to the Western Conference, right? And this one is tough for me because I always want to bring my Chicago Blackhawks into the conversation. I always want to talk about, can they make a run? Can they do, what I think that the Columbus Blue Jackets can do? Can they catch a team? So you've got, in the Western Conference, you got the Avalanche, who are playing very good hockey. They are the best team in the NHL. I don't think that there's a team out there that is going to beat the Colorado Avalanche this year. You better be ready to watch this team skate the cup because they are that damn good. But in the NHL, anything can happen. Then you got the St. Louis Blues and the Minnesota Wild in the Central. You got the Calgary Flames, Vegas Golden Knights, and Edmonton Oilers in the Pacific. Then you've got the Nashville Predators and Los Angeles Kings right now are the wild card. The Anaheim Ducks have the same amount of points as the LA Kings, but the Kings have one more win and two less overtime losses, I should say, than the Anaheim Ducks. The Dallas Stars are right behind them. I'm actually watching the Stars play the Jets right now. Very good game, tied at 1 with about 1:25 to go in the second period. And Vancouver is only 5 points behind that. Winnipeg is only 7 points behind that. San Jose is only 9 points behind the second wildcard seed. And then you got the Blackhawks, who are 15 points out. Now, the Blackhawks need a prayer. So I'm going to leave the Blackhawks out of it. I don't think the Blackhawks catch anybody. Too many teams to jump. Unless you go out and you just go on like a 12 or 13 game winning streak, I just don't see it happening. And with the way the Blackhawks have played all season, I don't see any way that they can win 12 or 13 games in a row. So they're out of it. But the rest of these teams are only separated by 9 points. And this is a league where anything can happen. And look, anybody can beat anybody in the series. I mean, we see it all the time in hockey where 8 seeds beat 1 seeds. There's so much parity in hockey. It is unbelievable. So when I say better be prepared to watch the Avalanche skate the cup, I wouldn't be surprised to see them be bounced in the first round either. It just happens. It's hockey. I love this game. I love this sport. I love watching it. It is absolutely insane. But the Los Angeles Kings should not feel safe. The Nashville Predators should not feel safe. Hell, the Edmonton Oilers, who are right now third in their division, should not feel safe. Do not sit back and wait. The Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues are also in that same position because the Nashville Predators are hot on their heels and they could be knocked down into the Blues, and the Wild could be knocked down into a wild card spot in minutes or even out of the playoffs in minutes if they fall asleep for half a second. These teams in the West is going to be a fun race to watch. You've only got 1 or 2 teams that maybe have a chance to catch the wild card seed in the East, but in the Western Conference, you have about 5 or 6 teams that could catch the wild card. And that is going to make for some exciting play down the stretch. That is going to make for some very good hockey down the stretch. It's just what we love to see. As hockey fans, it's we see me wearing the Blackhawks sweater tonight. That actually wasn't planned. I didn't even know we had a guest until right when I got home from work. And then he told me he wanted to talk hockey, and I was like, "Oh, great!" But it is one of those things that you love to see, and I can't wait. I'm excited for it. I think that the playoff push is going to be great, and I can't wait. It's going to be a fun time. So let's see what else we got here before we get out of here. There was one other thing I wanted to cover. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know UFC starting. UFC this weekend, Fight Night. Green and Makachev is going to be a good one, and then UFC 272. On March 5th is going to be a blast. Covington versus Masvidal is going to be a war. I can't wait. I love UFC. If you are not a UFC fan, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I absolutely love watching in the octagon. I can't wait to watch it with my father-in-law, who actually came home from the hospital yesterday. So glad to see him home. Leroy, we're going to catch some UFC fights this weekend for sure. We still got to catch up on the fights from last weekend. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm looking to see. Oh, this was the other thing I wanted to get into. So Aaron Rodgers goes on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and everybody's expecting that he's going to make a decision as to what his Alpha Rob says. I like some UFC. I love UFC. I get every pay-per-view. We watch every weekend, and it's just great. The sport is thriving. It's fun to watch. The best fighters in the world right now are in the UFC, and I love it week in and week out. But Aaron Rodgers goes on a Pat McAfee show, and Aaron Rodgers talks about, I'm not going to make a decision tonight. I just got done with a 12-day cleanse. It's some cleanse that was started out in India. It's a 12-day cleanse and all sorts of different things. He had to do some sort of freaking I don't know. He had to do all sorts of stuff to him. Give himself an enema or something like that as well. Like, I mean, I've often thought that he would enjoy something like that. But it's good to know now that he does it every off season. It's something that he does on the regular, is this cleanse. There are probably a million things I would do before I would do this cleanse. But I digress. He is on this cleanse and he does not make a decision about his future. But there was a comment made at some point that Aaron Rodgers was promised that Panchakarma cleanse, that's what it's called. At some point, he was promised that he would get traded if he decided he wanted out of Green Bay. And the general manager, Brian Gutekunst, or however he's Guttenkunst, or whatever you want to say his name, says that those are just hypotheticals. It was not something that he told him. I think the whole conversation with Aaron last season before he came back was that regardless, at the end of this past season, that we would sit down as a group and we would work it out one way or the other. So that makes me start to think, will the Packers force Aaron Rodgers to retire if he decides he does not want to play in Green Bay next season? And again, this is a guy who is now doing the Brett Favre. I don't know why Packers quarterbacks think that they can just, put everybody on hold and be like, I might retire. I might not retire. Okay, I retired. No, never mind. I'm coming back. Oh, never mind. I'm retiring. Oh, never mind. I'm coming back. Oh, you traded me. Okay, cool. I'm going to go play for a team and we're going to beat you every single year. Like, that's what Packers quarterbacks do. And I'm so sick of the Aaron Rodgers. And I want Rodgers to stay in Green Bay because if the Bears are going to compete in the next 3 or 4 years, and they are going to win a division in the next 3 or 4 years, and compete for a Super Bowl in the next 3 or 4 years, I want it to be with Green Bay's best. Like, it doesn't mean much to me if all of a sudden, I'll still be happy about it, but if all of a sudden the Justin Fields-led Bears are beating the Jordan Love-led Packers, it just doesn't have the same ring to it, right? You want to put Rodgers in his place. You want to put Mr. I own you, I still own you, I've always owned you in his place, and you want to knock him out. He's the guy you want. I don't think the Packers are going to let us have that, though. I think that the Packers are going to force this guy to retire because I don't think that they'll trade him. I think that they'll take a stand. I don't think they're going to let him do the same thing that Brett Favre did to them. I don't think they're going to let that happen. They're going to say, well, look, we got your rights. If you don't want to play, that's fine. But you're going to go home. We're going to move on without you. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them whatsoever. I don't blame them. Alpha Rob says if Rodgers gets traded, he should stay in the NFC. It's easier to reach the Super Bowl. Yeah, look, I think Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback of all time. I think the numbers are there. I think that he's kind of been wasted in Green Bay. They haven't really put a ton around him throughout his career. They've done a bad job of building over there. They don't recognize when they have weaknesses. They just think they're the Green Bay Packers, so they should always win. And that's what they do, and that's what they've done to Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, and I've heard lots of rumors, right? I've heard Denver. I've heard Seattle. I've heard San Francisco. I've heard all sorts of rumors. I don't know where he's going to go. I really don't care where he's going to go. But I think it's either for at least this season. I don't remember what his contract has. Maybe it's this season and next season. He's either going to be a Green Bay Packer or he's going to sit his ass at home. And that's not going to bode well with him. It's not going to bode well for the Green Bay Packers because they're going to be abysmal under Jordan Love. This whole division is going to be abysmal. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, somebody's going to win this division. It's going to be like the NFC East a couple of years ago. Somebody's going to win this division at 7-10. It's going to be gross. But that's what it's going to be. And so I think Aaron Rodgers has cried his way to a point where the Green Bay Packers are like, you know what? You're the villain in this case. And everybody's starting to see it. And we're going to let you continue to be the villain. But I guess we shall see. Time will tell. That is all the time I have for tonight. We will re-air the show on Belly Up Sports Network. We will also have an interview attached to it as well, so you want to check that out. Another Belly Up Sports member who we pre-recorded an interview with. We talked a lot of baseball in it. He is a baseball guy. He is a beat writer for the Chicago White Sox. He does beat writing for the the other not Barstool Sports. I can't think of the name of it right now. I can think of it because the guy's right out here out of Chicago. That's why I know which one it is, but I just can't think of the name of it right now. I'm too tired. So with that being said, we're going to bid you adieu. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have me douse, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 Cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my fucking mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing. Got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase that? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise.